Now, Russ Bliss with FantasyFootballStars.com, and we are talking about this strike that potentially is now looming here. And you had predicted that they would figure this out.
Yes.
But it just didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen.
What went wrong?
Well, what happened to me is that the owners kept coming back to the table, trying to get the players to accept some sort of compromise. And the players, they decided to go after all the financials. In order for them to take a pay cut, they argue, they want to know why they need to take a pay cut. And so they asked for 10 years of audited financials from all 32 NFL teams. That was their final request in order to extend the deadline. And it didn't happen. So the owner said, no, we're not going to give you 10 years of audited financials. This was our last thing. And at that time, it was so close to the deadline, there was no room for any more mediation to go on. It looks like as though there's irreconcilable differences as to how to break up this $9.3 billion piece of pie. And the two sides are now going to go to court, and they're going to go to litigation.
And can you just sort of break down what this going to court really means for us? We've gotten Tom Brady, Drew Brees, a bunch of high-level players all together in this sort of antitrust litigation. What does all of that mean to the average sports fan?
Well, to the average sports fan, what really happens here is that the NFL Players Union decertified, which makes now the NFL Players Association a trade association, meaning that all the players are independent contractors. So they don't have one collective voice. So by filing this antitrust litigation that was put in play when the NFL owners decided to lock out the players last night, they allow themselves to now go to court and say, hey, we're ready to play. We're able to play. They're locking us out. They're preventing us from making our living out there. They're the only game in town. They've got a monopoly on it, and that's why they go to antitrust court. Now, the NFL is going to argue that the decertification of the Players Association was nothing more than just a strategic plan by the NFLPA, so that way they could take advantage of the antitrust laws, and then once everything's settled in court, then they're going to reform the union, and it's like the union never really went away. It was just this bargaining chip, and that's what's going to eventually be argued in the appellate courts after they get the initial ruling.
And what's interesting is that union did just disappear. I went to a couple websites.
Oh, yeah.
They're gone. It's like they didn't even exist.
Oh, yeah. 20 minutes after they decided to decertify, if you tried to go on to the NFL Players Association website, it was gone. It was now NFLlockout.com. And I was amazed. I had to do a whole bunch of updates for the website, for our website, because we had them linked.
So how long will this whole process play out? Are we going to see games missed come fall?
It's entirely possible that we're going to see a couple of games missed. We don't know for sure. A lot has to play out. There's so much legalese that's involved here, and there's so much money involved. I mean, it's not just the economy of the players that are being affected here.
Oh, it's our economy.
It's all the economies, the sports bars, the restaurants, the travel agencies, all the people that pay money to go to these games and then go out and enjoy these games as fans. They're the ones who are going to end up sitting at home, not spending the money, and it's going to be a big economic problem for the entire United States.
Glendale obviously watching this very closely. You know, another big concern, I keep pointing this out, Flagstaff. They don't have to actually miss any games for Flagstaff to take a hit. They see about $9.7 million in economic impact from training camp. So if they don't have training camp, they're in trouble.
Yeah, and there's not going to be a training camp right now unless this gets fast-tracked through the court system or they come up with some sort of settlement. Because now the owners are talking about they want to bargain an agreement. Well, there's no longer collective bargaining since it's no longer a union. So what's going to happen now is it's going to be just like any other lawsuit that's out there. You can get the lawyers involved. They can hopefully pound out a settlement that'll allow everybody to go back to work, the NFL to open up their training camps again, open up their doors, let the players back in, and then they will work out a long-term agreement based on what the litigation comes out with.
All right, Russ, appreciate you breaking it down for us.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
so much, bud.
Thank you.